Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Thank you for coming to the Springfield Municipal Regional Planning Commission meeting Thursday, March the 5th, 2026. Item 1.2, please call the roll.
Bibb. Here. Boyd.
Here.
Fouth. Here. Bragg.
Here.
Moreland.
Here.
Schott. Here. Thomas.
Here.
Townsend.
Here.
Holt.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Item 1.3, approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of the Planning Commission held on February 5th, 2026. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 1.4, public comment period. During the public comment period, I will call your name. You will come to the microphone and state your name and address. I just want a few housekeeping notes. It's not a question and answer session. You can address the commission within those 2 minutes. At the end of the 2 minutes, the timer will go off and you will have your chance to be seated. Albert Cartner, 505 Hill Street, Springfield, Tennessee.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here this evening. My name is Albert Cartner. I'm the area manager for Legends Bank in Robertson and Cheatham counties. Our bank is under contract to purchase the property at 1801 and 1803 Nicholas Drive. I've been working in banking in Springfield for just over 10 years now. I've spent the bulk of my career in community banks, and I believe strongly in what we do and the impact we have on the communities we serve. I've invested a substantial amount of my own personal time and money into civic and nonprofit organizations within this community, and I'm proud and honored to have been able to do so. I believe strongly in the contribution we make to communities in which we serve, both in terms of the time and money we invest. We're passionate about helping people reaching their financial goals and dreams. And I sincerely believe that strong community banks play a vital role in the economic prosperity of communities such as Springfield. When I arrived in Springfield about 10 years ago, there were 5 locally owned community banks. Today, in 2026, there are 1. Over the years, I've been approached previously from multiple institutions about bringing their flag to Springfield, Tennessee. I've turned down and bypassed all of those offers. I've agreed to take this journey with Legends Bank, in large part and primarily because of the bank's commitment to communities, community involvement and the investment therein and making our communities a better place to live, work, and play. I'm adamant that there's a need for what we do in Springfield. This property that's being proposed at 1801 and 1803 Nicholas Drive is ideal for Legends Bank to operate and service the needs of the clientele locally. We desire to become a valued community partner. We hope to play a large part in the healthy economic growth of Springfield that we all know is coming to us. With that, I just humbly ask you to take into account all the good things that our bank and community banks bring to small communities when you're considering this request.
Jeremy Horde, 310 North 1st Street, Clarksville, Tennessee.
Well, good evening, and thank you, members of the Planning Commission. I'm Jeremy Horde. I am the Chief Banking Officer at Legends Bank and ultimately our future CEO. I moved to Middle Tennessee to run the bank and ultimately retire here. I just want to share a little bit and echo what Albert said. We're a very community-minded organization. Over the last 3 years, we've invested, our marketing dollars go largely to donations and sponsorships within the community, which range of varying amount of needs and businesses and chambers and all these functions. That investment has exceeded $1.5 million in the last 36 months. And so those are all in the 3 markets we're in, which is Montgomery County, Cheatham County, and a couple counties in Nashville. We very much believe in being a community bank and being a good partner. We would ask that you consider this rezone, as we're the potential purchaser of the Nicholas Drive lot. We feel like that's a good location for us to be positioned to help the community. We intend to bring local jobs, hire local people, and help local folks in the community. We will be a quiet neighbor to the neighborhood behind us. We're pretty benign. Our business model doesn't bring a lot of traffic to our banks. They're largely operate as offices for our team members because we've invested in a lot of technology to help folks bank where they are. And so we wouldn't have a lot of traffic on the evenings or weekends. Ultimately, I just would ask you to consider us. We appreciate what you do. Y'all take time away from your families to do this, and thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Jim Gray, 104 Player Court, Springfield, Tennessee.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I'm Dr. Jim Gray. I have owned property and been a resident of Moreland Estates for over 40 years, and own property adjacent to the lots in question for rezoning for over 20 years now. As well as others of this group tonight are opposed to the rezoning of the two lots on Nicholas Drive. First of all, these lots were originally designated with the entire subdivision as residential. We've already been through this in the past 4 years for rezoning purposes. Carving out a section of a residential development for commercial zoning would set a precedent to other areas of our community. In this case, if not a bank, it could be something else much less desirable. Second, at these types of hearings, there's always talk about traffic, congestion, trash, etc. This is a different situation. You have in your packets photos of the in question of during heavy rains that occurred in 2010. And again in September of 2017 with Hurricane Harvey. The developments uphill have pushed significant amounts of dirt and debris into what was called Lake Guilford originally, as I understand, has formed a large delta in that area, which takes up a significant portion of the drainage of this lake, which would normally hold a lot more water. Decades ago, my son used to fish in that lake. He now resides at 104 Blair Court. And I've watched this happen over the last 20 years. And every time it rains significantly, I get worried. There seems to be no one taking responsibility for the changes which have occurred to this water body. I purposely purchased the lot at 106 Player Court several years ago because of the flooding
Thank you,
which
Mr.
occurred.
Gray.
I know this is not the discussion for necessarily other departments need to be involved in this, but I respectfully request that you deny this.
Thank you,
rezoning.
Mr. Gray. Amy Gallagher, 2201 Masters Drive, Springfield, Tennessee.
My name is Amy Gallagher, and first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking my phone calls and taking my messages and understanding why I oppose this rezoning proposal. I was born in Springfield. My family is a 7th-generation family from Robertson County. I have a vested interest in this community, but not just for myself, for my neighbors as well. My husband and I met with Joe Moore 40 years ago and picked out a property where we wanted to build our home. And at that time, Joe Moore said Moreland would be a residential, single-family dwelling neighborhood. When the placement of Walmart was brought up and it was going to be on Highway 431, Tom Austin, our neighborhood came before this commission and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to express our concerns about the traffic flow that would increase in our neighborhood. And that is exactly what has happened. The speed and the amount of traffic in our neighborhoods has increased significantly. It is a detriment to the walkers, to the runners, to the people strolling their children and walking their children and their babies. But beyond that, it has resulted in so much property damage, ranging from knocking down mailboxes, not once, but numerous times, to losing control of vehicles and ending up wrecking in and on our property. When a person buys a home, it is one of, if
Thank you,
not
Ms.
the
Gallagher.
biggest investments
Thank you, Ms.
they
Gallagher.
have. It is one of
Thank
the
you, Ms.
most
Gallagher.
valuable things they own. In my research, when you take a commercial property and put it in a residential neighborhood, it increases the traffic, first of all, and it devalues the homes around
Thank
it.
you, Ms.
And then
Gallagher. If you'll
throughout
please have a seat. Thank you.
am I-
Raymond Francis, 403 Eagle Trail, Springfield, Tennessee. I remind you, we do have 2 minutes for public comment.
Thank you for your service. I didn't think I'd be back before this planning commission for a while. It's been many, many times I've been here. I bought a home on 403 Eagle Trail, a retirement home. We've lived here 48 years. We decided to stay here and retire, and we bought a retirement home over in Moreland Estates. And it's 3 points I want to make. One, Moreland Estates is one of the few quality residential areas left in Springfield. You can go up and down the streets, you see people walking, people pushing baby buggies, bicycles. It's a real quality community. And that's what we like about it. And it's a combination of senior citizens and also families and kids. And you can actually see the kids out playing. We don't want to put that in jeopardy. Second is the safety. I've already talked to our alderman and our mayor many times about how people run the stop signs on those streets, coming down Nicholas Drive and coming over from Bracy. We need to do something about that. Somebody's going to get hurt. And most important is that there's other alternatives for this bank. Nothing against the bank, but they can go somewhere else in Springfield and do business. They don't have to do it at Moreland Estates, which has a good quality of life for all the people in that estate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sam Ramsey, 618 Fairway Trail, Springfield, Tennessee.
Thank you. Again, my name is Sam Ramsey. I live at 618 Fairway Trail. I want to thank you also for your time and service here and giving us the opportunity to express our opposition to the rezoning of lots 1801 and 1803 to CS, or commercial services. My spouse and I, Sandy, and I purchased our lot number 53 from Joe Moore back and built a home and moved in 1984. At that time, there was no Nicholas Drive, and if my memory serves me correctly, and I have slept since then, there was no Tom Austin Highway. Joe Moore's intent was for this neighborhood to be and remain single-family housing, or R20. The city's comprehensive growth plan that was developed several years ago also calls for these lots to remain as R20. Spot zoning them to CS is contrary to the comprehensive growth plan and thus should be denied. I have served as a bank director for 15 years. I'm retired from that job now, and during that time we opened a number of branches. In my opinion, the bank would not want to expose, or the directors of the bank would not want to expose the reputational risk of locating a bank in a neighborhood or an area that's opposed by so many members. If Zone CS and the bank chooses to go elsewhere, then the door is open, as you well know, to many other facilities, be it a fast food establishment, transient habitation, amusement, entertainment, and so on, none of which would be appropriate at the entrance to our neighborhood. The same with the bank at this time. Therefore, we respectfully request that you deny this request and keep these two lots zoned as R20. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Matt Burnett, 400 Two Mile Pike, Goodlettsville, Tennessee.
Good evening, thank you. I am one of the 4 owners of this property on Nicholas and Tom Austin Highway. All 4 of us are all Robertson County natives. We own multiple properties throughout the county. We're very proud of our projects. We purchased this a few years ago. We knew it was zoned residential, but we see that it looks like a prime commercial lot. You know, it's right there on the corner of a major highway, has a red light, commercial all around it, Walmart directly across the street. You know, if not today, at some point, I feel like this lot will be zoned commercial. Maybe it's 10 years from now, maybe it's tonight, but we have a really good opportunity now to put what I think is the best case scenario commercial building on this. With Legends Bank coming in, you know, I say a bank is the best case scenario because it's low noise, limited traffic, limited hours, professional looking building, nice landscaping. You know, the last thing I would want to see is another gas station or car wash. You know, since we've owned it, we've had multiple offers, multiple people talk to us. None of those are the right fit. That's not what we're looking for. We want it to be something that works for the community, something we're proud of, the community's proud of, and a good neighbor to the neighbors behind it. Thank you.
Thank you. Jordan Osborne, 4450 Highway 161, Springfield, Tennessee.
Thank you all for letting me speak tonight. So I'm going to speak in favor of this, very similar to what Matt said. We have an opportunity right now to put something there that is low impact. It is a commercial corridor already, as you guys know. That is where most of the growth in Springfield is going. I spent a lot of my professional career fundraising for this community. And banks are our greatest assets. And I would hate to see something go there eventually that would not be a benefit to the community or to the county, specifically to the city. This is low impact. I'm actually a customer of Legends Bank. I've only been to one Legends Bank, and I've been a customer for several years or for several months now. They have a really unique system. A lot of their transactions take place virtually, so it's really not very much traffic. They're not as much of a consumer bank as they are a commercial business bank, and it's been very beneficial to our company to bank that way. For a small business that has limited time, I'm able to do a lot from my office without having to travel to and from the bank on a regular basis. So I'll tell you from a small business perspective, it is also very beneficial as well. They have a great opportunity to make a huge impact in Robertson County and in Springfield. And I just request that you guys pass this. Thank you.
Thank you. Mel Carr, 318 Tivoli Drive, Springfield, Tennessee.
I live at 318 Tivoli Trail. I've lived there 6 years. I've been in Robertson County here for 27 years. And I own the house next door, 314 Tivoli Trail, where my daughter lives. And I also own a house at 2103 Nicholas Drive. And I'm concerned about the additional traffic that would be created as a business on Nicholas Drive. Thank you.
Thank you. With that concludes our public comment. We'll move on to new business. Item 2.1, discuss and possibly take action on a rezoning request from RS20 to CS for property at 1801 and 1803 Nicholas Drive. Do I have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Durham?
Good evening, Commissioners. Item 2.1 is a request to rezone approximately 2.54 acres at 1801 and 1803 Nicholas Drive from RS20, low-density residential single-family, to commercial services. The applicant has indicated the intent is to allow for a bank. The property consists of 2 platted residential lots within the Moreland Estates subdivision. While the property fronts Tom Austin Highway, it is accessed from Nicholas Drive and remains physically and functionally connected to the surrounding residential neighborhood. Staff would like to emphasize that rezoning applies to the land, not a specific use. Approval of CS zoning would allow a broad range of commercial uses by right. The comprehensive growth plan and future land use map designate this area for medium-density residential, intended to serve as a transition between commercial uses along the Tom Austin Highway and the surrounding single-family neighborhood. Expanding commercial zoning into a platted residential subdivision is not consistent with that framework. Staff has received significant public input. While some residents expressed comfort with a bank use, many raised concerns about broader commercial impacts and precedent. Staff recommends denial of the request as it is inconsistent with the comprehensive plan and could negatively impact neighborhood character and long-term planning goals. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Ms. Durham?
Question about the,
Ms. Morgan?
yes, I have a question about the site plan you just showed. I don't know if this should be directed to you or to the person who designed that. My question is about that little driveway there. Why is the driveway on Nicholas Drive instead of on Tom Austin?
I cannot answer that question.
Mr. Burnett, do you know anything about the site plan, sir?
I did not come up with the site plan, that was one of the engineers.
If you'll come to the microphone, please.
I did not come up with the site plan, it was one of the engineers that's working for the bank. I know there is an entrance that was originally installed on Tom Austin. I'm not sure if that would make sense to put that there. But I assume since the red light is there, that would make a good transition in and out.
Yes, sir.
And limited traffic. I mean, the bank, it's not gonna have a lot of traffic.
Yes, sir.
So, I'm confused with that. Did you mean it's better to have it on Nicholas Drive or on 431? I'm sorry, I don't follow.
My opinion, it would be better to have it on Nicholas Drive, but that would be up to the engineer and the state and the city, I would think.
Okay.
It's not a time for public comment. Any other questions for Mr. Burnett while he's at the microphone? Thank you, Matt. Any other questions?
I just have one comment.
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't support it going to CS zone, but it feels like an SP would be down the line something for this site specifically because of how unique it is in its location and being in.
Can I
not to
address?
say,
There's not enough acreage.
yeah,
to have
well,
it.
I know it wouldn't work exactly as it's laid out now, but I don't think you can rezone it to CS and allow all those uses.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to deny the rezoning request from RS20 to CS based on the finding of the city's comprehensive growth plan, the future land use, and the fact that staff does not agree with changing this from RS20 to CS.
I'll second.
We're ready for a vote.
Boyd,
No.
Good.
Are you in agreement with the motion?
to deny.
with the motion.
Okay, then it's a yes.
So yes. Bibb,
Mr. Chairman, I need to abstain from this vote for a potential conflict of interest.
Yes, sir.
Schott,
Yes.
Fowl,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Moreland,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Thomas.
No.
The motion is denied 7-1.
We're going to give a pause for just a moment. If you wish to leave, you may do so at this time. Yes, sir. I think that they're a very good asset for our community.
Y'all discussed that in the hall.
I can't hear that. I'm not.
what approved that? Wouldn't you say agreed?
Item 2.2, discuss and possibly take action on a rezoning request from RS10 to R7 for property at 1300 Adrian Drive. Do I have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor?
Motion.
We have a motion. Second. And a second. Ms. Durham?
You're gonna close the doors. Item 2.2 is a request to rezone approximately 0.41 acres at 1300 Adrian Drive from RS10 medium-density residential single-family to R7 high-density residential. The subject property is a corner lot within an established residential area and is currently developed with a single-family residence. The lot is of sufficient size to accommodate higher residential density under the R7 zoning district. The applicant has indicated there are no immediate plans to subdivide or construct additional dwelling units. Approval of the rezoning would provide future flexibility with any development subject to full subdivision and building review. The property's location and surrounding development pattern, including proximity to non-residential uses, support the requested zoning as an appropriate transition and infill opportunity. Public utilities and roadway access are already available. The future land use map designates this area as high-density residential, and no public objections were received. Staff recommends approval as the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and represents an appropriate and efficient use of land.
Any questions for Ms. Durham on this request?
I have one. On this one, would both properties be fronting, would one face Allsup and one face Adrian?
Likely, yes.
And probably for the next one too?
Yes,
So-
based on the amount of frontage on each road,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
The second lot, so to speak, would be on Alsop as opposed to Adrian.
Anyone else in that area want to rezone?
I'm sorry,
Did anyone else in that area also want to rezone, or just those two?
I've not received any requests in our office.
Any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
We're ready for a vote.
Moreland,
Yes.
Bibb,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Schott,
No.
Holt,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Fowle.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-1.
Item 2.3, discuss and possibly take action on a rezoning request from RS10 to R7 for property at 200 Bates Drive. Do we have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor?
Motion.
Just a second.
I guess I'll second.
Who motioned?
Mr. Townsend and Ms. Moran has the second. Ms. Durham?
Item 2.3 is a request to rezone approximately 0.45 acres at 200 Bates Drive from RS10 medium-density residential single-family to R7 high-density residential. The subject property is a corner lot within an established residential neighborhood and is currently developed with a single-family residence. The lot exceeds the minimum size required to support higher density development under the R7 zoning district. The applicant has intended there are no immediate plans to subdivide or construct additional dwelling units. Approval of the rezoning would provide future flexibility with any development subject to full subdivision and building review. While this property is internal to the neighborhood, staff finds the surrounding development pattern, lot size, and corner location support the requested zoning as an appropriate infill opportunity. Public utilities and roadway access are already available. The future land use map designates this area as high-density residential, and no public objections were received. Staff recommends approval as the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and represents an appropriate infill use that maintains neighborhood compatibility.
Any questions for Ms. Durham?
Move to approve.
Second.
We are ready for a vote.
Moreland,
Yes.
Bibb,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Schott,
No.
Holt,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Ballard.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Item
8-1.
2.4, discuss and possibly take action on an amendment to the City of Springfield zoning ordinance by amending Section 11-1304 entitled the Board of Zoning Appeals. Do we have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Durham?
Item 2.4 is a proposed amendment to Section 11-1304 of the zoning ordinance, which deals with the makeup of the Board of Zoning Appeals. Right now, our ordinance requires at least one planning commission member also serve on the BZA. At times, the planning commission includes members who don't live within the city limits, and that has made it more difficult to appoint willing and qualified planning commission members to the board. State law allows cities to appoint members to the Board of Zoning Appeals as long as a majority of the board members live within the city. This amendment simply updates our ordinance to match state law. What this means in practice is that a planning commission member could serve on the BZA even if they live outside the city limits, as long as the majority of the board remains city residents. Nothing else is changing. The size of the board stays the same, the appointment process stays the same, and the board's authority stays the same. From staff's perspective, this is a procedural change. It doesn't affect zoning rules, permitted uses, or development standards. It just gives the city more flexibility to keep the board fully staffed and able to meet when needed. Staff recommends approval as the amendment aligns with state law and helps ensure the board can continue to function efficiently. Happy to entertain any questions or answer any questions about this amendment.
I have a question. So this means that an at-large member can be.
It means
over the
any
B-
member of the planning
Right.
commission can serve on the BZA.
Okay.
As long as that Springfield residency is still in the majority.
Yes. The other, on the board currently, the other 4 members are residents of the city.
Any other questions for Ms. Durham on this?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We are ready for a vote.
Moreland,
Yes.
Bibb,
Abstain.
Boyd,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Ballard.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0 with one abstain.
I would like to know the reason for the abstention.
We're awfully close to the railroad track. This seemed like a railroad issue. No, I just felt like I would aggravate the rest of it.
Item 3.1, the Community Development Director's Report. Ms. Durham?
Okay, first with respect to the Board of Zoning Appeals, the March and April meetings have been canceled. At this time, there are no items scheduled that require that board's action. I will put it back onto the agenda for next month then to nominate someone from this commission to that board. In terms of notable recent approvals, staff would like to highlight the approval of the 7 Brew Coffee development located at 3424 Tom Austin Highway. I believe construction is starting soon if it hasn't already. That is adjacent to the Panda Express. Looking ahead, staff continues to coordinate on several anticipated or forthcoming development submittals, including the proposed Wawa at the Shops at Moreland. Future development activity at 411 Memorial Drive. That site is the one that we looked at for zoning last month and is still pending final outcome at this month's Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. And then also Fire Station number 3. With regard to Fire Station number 3, staff anticipates receiving a full site plan submittal in the next couple of weeks, and the project is expected to come before the Planning Commission in the next coming months. I believe they want to be here in May. For the April Planning Commission meeting, there are quite a few items on the agenda, several items associated with the Summit View development, preliminary plats for Lookout Crossing Phase 2 and Magnolia Farms, a final plat for Jasper Fields Phase 1, and then an annexation and zoning request that was deferred from this month to next month for property at 3168 Old New Cut Road. Staff is also actively researching and evaluating several potential zoning ordinance amendments where recurring questions or challenges have been identified. Earlier this month, a memo was shared, well, probably in February actually at this point, but a memo was shared that went into detail regarding the distinction between legislative and quasi-judicial matters that come before this commission. I didn't know if there was any questions or clarification that was needed about that, but I'm happy to answer any questions if there are.
Any questions on that?
Okay. Moving on, work sessions may be scheduled to allow more in-depth discussion about any of these items. I do encourage each of you to share any ideas of interest or concern you might like staff to explore, whether that be in a work session or just things that you would like to see brought before this board. Finally, I would like to remind the Commission of the annual training requirement. In addition to the mandatory 1-hour training on private property rights and the public planning process, commissioners are encouraged to consider additional training topics that may be beneficial to the work of this body. I'm beginning to put together this training and welcome any and all input. That concludes my report. I'm happy to provide additional details on anything I've mentioned or answer any questions.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so it's been a very busy past 2 weeks. Busy in the sense that I have gotten a lot of phone calls on my personal number from people expressing concerns, and I understand why. The concerns were there. They were part of the first portion of our agenda regarding the Nicholas property. And I understand that we're all, well, it's not really a question, I guess. First, it's my comments, then maybe there'll be a question. We're all here in different circumstances of our lives, but we're all volunteer. We're appointed and we're volunteer. We are not elected. We are not paid in this job. What I am giving is my volunteer time. I have 2 young children, and the reason that I need to pick up phone calls, even if I don't know the phone numbers, is because my children have a lot of medical appointments. So it's a little difficult, and it kind of hits me in the face when someone calls me and I think it's a doctor and they want to talk to me about an issue. I understand that the issue is important. I really do. But I feel at some point we have to understand and respect our privacy and reach us in the proper form of contact. If you look on the website, you have your aldermen and alderwomen with email addresses. If they're trying to reach you, Carolyn, or maybe city manager or whoever else, there's the city phone number and there's emails. We don't have anything there. So I don't know if people are asking friends of friends for our numbers, or I used to have a business. So my phone number is out there tied to a business, and I don't know if that's what people are picking it up from. But intending my number to be out there for a business means business-related issues, not issues regarding things that I do in my volunteer time. So I just felt that it was very important for me to bring this up in a constructive manner. I love that our city is very involved, that residents want to and care about how this city develops. But I think we need to draw the line somewhere as far as how people reach out to us.
To that note, we can easily add the assigned city planning commission email addresses. We can update our website, our section, and put those on there, because I think that's a great idea for us to put that email address that was assigned to each of you for your role on this commission. That would certainly be a way for the public to communicate with you that's less intrusive.
And I don't think it's necessarily the times, or the phone calls is one, but it's sometimes the times that the phone calls are coming in.
Yes, somebody's called me on a Saturday.
My meeting, I was eating dinner with my family, and I get a phone call, and it was numerous phone calls at those hours. And like Nikki said, it is a volunteer role. We are not getting paid. Leave a voicemail and maybe make it nice, and I'll call you back.
Well, hopefully getting those email addresses posted will help with some of that.
I mean, is it also appropriate for us to say something like, you know, if I do get caught off guard, like the last time I thought the nurse was calling me and it was a lady with a big bone to pick. That I can say, there are proper channels to bring up these issues, and I'm happy to meet with, bring it up via email, or let's talk during city time. I mean, that's why we have public comment, right? Okay.
I think you're taking charge of that situation. City time is 24/7, 7 days a week. So there is no city time, as most of the employees around here know. But just being forceful and telling, and leaving, having a message, personal message. If you're calling about city business, I will call you back on Monday, or something like that. I think that would be just being out front about it, and something like that.
That's a good idea. Thank you, Gina.
Well,
Unless I'm in an extremely good mood, which is seldom if you want to ask my wife. If they're not in my database of my telephone, I don't answer. And if it's important, they will leave me a voicemail. I leave my I don't do like my wife and let her voicemail fill up. I leave it, I clear it off every day just to make sure. But, I mean, we do have ways of doing that. I did answer a few of the phone calls just because the number looked semi-familiar. They weren't in my phone.
but I'm like Nikki, I have to answer every call because of doctor's appointments and things for my mom.
Yeah.
And most of them I don't recognize, so I have to answer all of them. And, yeah.
They will.
Thank goodness I got in at the tail end of this, and I only had about 4 or 5 calls on this thing tonight, but.
Any other questions for Ms. Jones? Do we have a motion and a second to adjourn?
So moved. Second.